From ScreenJunkies Studios, it's time to tune in to TV Fights. Today's episode of TV Fights is brought to you by Hulu.
What's up, Screen Junkies? Welcome to TV Fights here on Screen Junkies Plus, and also today on YouTube. We have amazing fights coming for you guys. We're talking about the best cult TV shows, the most badass non-human characters, and the best show to hate watch. I'm Roxy Striar, and I have amazing fighters with me today. They have all been victors of this show, so it should be a pretty kick-butt fight. The one to my left, you guys all know him, of course. He's the co-creator of Honest Trailers. He's the host of Movie Fights, and in case he wasn't busy enough already, I don't even know how you do it all, he is now the co-host of the new show Knocking Dead on Mondays at 1 p.m. It's Andy Signore.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like Chris Hardwick now.
Wow.
No, I'm not here.
It's a good feeling.
He's busy, right?
Are you getting that Hardwick money?
Yeah. That's what I think when I look at you, too.
We called him Nerdy Ryan Seacrest in our new Honest Trailer.
Oh.
That's fair, right?
That's very totally fair.
But do you feel like you also are a nerdy Ryan
No, I didn't mean to
Seacrest?
compare him. He's busy. He was just comparing the busy.
He is very busy.
But I'm happy to be here, and good job on the show. I love the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a good pat on the back to the team over here. Good work, guys. Woo! The big man approves, so that's very good. Across the table, guys, coming over from SourceFed. Is this your fourth time fighting Matt Lieberman?
If you count the pilot that nobody saw.
I saw it.
You saw it.
I know what happened there. So, Matt Lieberman, thank you for joining us again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back, and it's great to have a rematch with Mr. Signore.
Oh, are you taking selfies right now?
We're live.
It's happening.
Yeah, I'm tweeting live. Telling him I'm here.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do a tweet prior, but I'm telling him to watch.
Oh, so currently you're actually tweeting. I don't know if his head's in the game, but I do know.
Oh, I'm ready.
I don't know about that.
No, keep him distracted.
Oh,
Yeah,
distracted.
seriously. Let him drown himself.
Let him do it.
Because
Finish your tweet.
With
Wow,
the
please.
laser focus over there, actress Michele Boyd is sitting and is concentrated as all hell, I can tell.
As I should be, really.
Yeah, definitely. Are you crazy? It's a big show tonight. Andy over here
The
tweeting.
stakes are high.
I think he's
Returning
trying to-
victors. This is Hunger Games style.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think of it like that, but now that you said it, it definitely is.
TV Fights Tournament of Champions.
Okay, over on the couch is Ken Napzok, our brilliant fact checker. Hey, Ken.
Well, I am on the couch. That's a fact. Excited to be here, Roxy, for like you said, a return of 3 victors. We've never had that before. I'm trying to break down the fight. You know, Andy knows the fight game well, but will he be distracted if your judgments don't sync up with his judgments? I don't know. Lieberman's always hungry. He got the big win. Michele Boyd, though, she is calm, cool. She is stealthy. She's kind of like Arya Stark. She is, blind and able to kill. As always, if you're watching for the first time on YouTube, we have a hashtag on Twitter. You can follow along. I'll be joining the conversation with you there. There's hashtag TV Fights Live. Big episode today brought to you by Hulu. We're excited to have this fight.
Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
for Hulu for letting us
Hey,
see this
thank
live on
you.
YouTube.
I was just going to say, I really want to thank Hulu. If you guys are the kind of person who's always looking for something new to watch, then definitely check out Hulu, where you can stream everything from TV's hottest shows of all time to the classics that you absolutely love. And this is my favorite part. You guys get to watch this and more commercial-free. There's a commercial-free option, which I know I can't stand sitting through all of them, so this is really great. Today's episode is also on YouTube in addition to Screen Junkies Plus, so thank you again to our friends over at Hulu for making this all happen. It's really awesome.
They have every Seinfeld.
And,
I know.
And may I just say, if you're in the entertainment biz, it is a tax write-off.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have
Just
commercial-free Hulu with Showtime, and it's my absolute favorite thing.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, in the entire world.
Have,
Easy
you
to
both, have we all
research.
caught cable yet?
Yeah,
totally.
long ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing to say on TV Fights, but yeah, totally. Yeah, I did. Thanks to things like Hulu and Netflix and all
Exactly.
that, so it's really great.
Especially Hulu.
Yeah, especially Hulu, though.
Hulu was
they rock.
first. I mean, the original.
And the non-commercial parts of the shows, and they keep up with all
And
of it.
Hulu
so-
crushes it. I mean, they do great at everything, but their TV, they have every show.
They have everything.
I know.
You really can catch up.
Yeah, and you can watch it that night.
All right, so thank you guys again. Over at Hulu, is everybody at this table ready for some fights?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Warming up the hands. I love the passion over here. Guys,
Okay.
let's get started with round 1. With Battlestar Galactica now streaming on Hulu, thanks again, Hulu, what's the best cult TV show to binge watch? So we're starting with Andy, then Matt, then Michelle. The best cult show to binge watch.
Sorry, my order's wrong. Let me make sure I have my notes right here.
That's okay.
Yes.
This is okay. Best show to binge watch.
That is. See, guys, maybe this is a tactic. It's a scare
Got
tactic
it. Now I know.
still.
Yes.
Time
I'm good.
ticking down, sir.
I'm good. My answer is Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Now, Breaking Bad is just one of the best crafted shows, I think, ever. Storytelling-wise, acting-wise, character arc-wise. It pulled off what so many shows are unable to pull off, which is the strong start and the strong finish. And you feel like you really can ride that all the way through and learn a lot and just feel like you just watched something amazing. It's very rare for shows to have that. Even like Sopranos, like amazing show that everyone goes down like, well, the best doesn't end well. I think Breaking Bad really had that fun, amazing closure. You really see where these characters went. You were happy, you were satisfied, and there's just so many things throughout that you want to talk about still to this day that I'll be talking about more detail. But for me, it's hands down the choice is Breaking Bad, and I'll explain more about the why, because the key word for me is binge watch. And I'll explain more as we go, but I want to let them talk first.
Sure.
Cool. Matt.
Okay, a keyword for me is cult show, and Breaking Bad is a flat-out hit. Now, my show is Veronica Mars. This is a show that was cut off way too early in its run, but had a very passionate cult following well after it was canceled. It's fun. It gets into a rhythm, but it also changes it up. When you're binge watching something, you want a show that you are consistently excited to watch, that is always going to be fun to watch, instead of being punished over and over and over again by something that may be a bit too heavy. If I'm going to watch something for 4 or 5 hours straight, not only do I want to be engrossed, not only do I want to love characters, but I also want to have a great time, I want to laugh, and I want to be shocked. This is a show that has it all.
Okay, Michelle.
Well, going along with that, I mean, if you're going to use those two words, both cult show and passionate following, my show kind of has it beat hands down. Firefly, done and done. Some of the best cult following any show has ever had, ever. Not to mention, the entire time you're watching that show, it was one season of perfection. You have an ensemble cast. You have individual storylines. You have interesting storylines where you don't even know where they're going. You have an overarching universe that the show actually introduced and created. And not to mention, it was so popular, it didn't really need a Kickstarter for a movie.
She's trying to get the audience on her side. You know, she's staring right into their souls.
One of the most epic underperformers of any sci-fi movie in history.
Gonna back her up though. Not only did it didn't need a Kickstarter, but then it made the movie and it sucked and it bombed. And as did season 3.
Well.
Just doesn't hold up is what the problem with your movie is.
Serenity also sucked.
Serenity,
well, here's the problem.
Serenity has
let's team up on
layers.
Firefly, because here's the problem with binge watching Firefly. You get 10, 12 episodes and then you're depressed because you can never get it again.
Yep.
It's too short, it's too quick, it's a small experience that you're just going to get so sad at the end of that binge watching experience. You're going to be like, I can never watch this again.
Not to mention, it raises a lot of questions and a lot of mysteries that were never paid off, not even in the movie.
The movie, actually, if you
Movie
watch
doesn't
it
count.
over and over, the movie doesn't count, but the movie does wrap up quite a lot. I will say, as far as binge watching is concerned, at least with my show, you can get it all in one sitting. You try to binge watch 62 episodes of Breaking Bad, you are going to be seeing hallucinations and wishing you had meth by the end of it in order to stay awake.
That's a fair note, but I picked the wrong show, because here's the reason why you want to binge watch Breaking Bad. And we can argue about cult, whatever. It's, to me, that no one was watching that show until the last couple seasons.
Wrong.
Because it was a cult show. No, it wasn't. AMC's ratings were terrible.
It was pulling the same.
It grew in success because it was a good show, and I think
it was pulling the same level of ratings as Mad Men by season 2.
Oh, Mad Men's a huge hit on TV.
Mad Men is also a hit. Well, no, but
in
in the vast realm of TV shows, it is a mainstream hit.
The
Better Call
ratings.
Saul, the spin-off of Breaking Bad, had some of the highest ratings that AMC has ever had in their entire career.
Let's look up CW ratings.
We're going to go on Veronica Mars.
We have
to go on Veronica Mars for a moment here, because we've talked a little bit about Breaking Bad, and don't get me wrong, I am a marshmallow, which is why I know that season both 2 and 3 of that show just started tanking.
Yes.
First season, no problem. Like Firefly, if it had ended after the first season, perfect show, no problem. Season 2 and especially season 3 just jumped the shark. There were random storylines every 2 or 3 episodes. You didn't care about the overarching storyline like you did in season 1.
No.
Oh, yes,
First of
my
all,
friend.
they paid off their mysteries. Unlike Firefly, which never did. We never learned what Shepard Book did. We learned maybe,
Comic book.
Oh, yeah, so I'm really going to read a book instead of binge watching my favorite show, because this is called TV fights, not comic book fights. Let's be clear. Veronica Mars, the second season and the third season, while maybe they weren't as great as the first season, I'll give you that. I'll give you that they weren't as great, but they were still fantastic.
No,
melding not only large-scale mysteries, but smaller-scale mysteries, changing it up in the third season, adding more levity, adding great characters, having
Adding
one of the
characters
best
you did not care
ensemble
about
cast.
at
No.
Which, that
If you
bus
love
went
this
over
show,
the-
and I know that you do, because you call yourself a marshmallow,
Yep.
if you're a true marshmallow, you learn to love all of those
That
characters,
bus of
even
characters
Piz.
that went over the hill. Oh, really? You were
Yeah.
going to bring up Piz.
I will bring
you-
up Piz
you
right
just-
now.
You just made
Yeah.
my argument for me.
Yeah.
However, that bus that went over the hill, no one cared who was in that bus at all. And may I bring up...
You don't have a
the
heart if you
evil-
didn't care about,
that
a
evil
whole bus
villain.
full of children.
All right,
That
guys, I
evil
want to hear
villain.
final thoughts from you
Okay.
guys. I think we've all talked about why it's a cult show, but I want to know more about why you can binge watch this cult show, starting with you, Matt.
Look, we're not just talking about a quality of a show. We're talking about a show that is fun, engaging, and interesting to watch, that rewards you from watching several episodes at a time. Not only are you enjoying several mysteries in every episode, but you're watching smaller arcs pay off, and you're watching a large arc develop. You have enough episodes that you can binge watch it over the span of a few weeks, instead of Firefly, which is an experience that lasts maybe a weekend. We're talking about a show that is an experience that you get to enjoy over time and never loses your attention. That is a cult show whose following was so passionate that they didn't need a studio to make the movie for them. They put up their own cash to see it
That was
finish
wise.
strong.
Andy.
Well, look, he says experience. There's no better experience up here than Breaking Bad. And here's the reason why you want to binge watch Breaking Bad. Because there are some lulls in that show if you have to watch week to week. If you get to watch them in a binge watch setting, there's none. The thing carries through all the way. And here's what's most important about what's awesome about binge watch. Yes, there's arcs that pay off in Veronica Mars, whatever. There are way more arcs that pay off in Breaking Bad. But not only are there arcs that pay off in Breaking Bad, there are little things that you'll notice. Episode 1, Walt drops his pants, right? In the final season, his pants are blowing by in the desert. You would never catch that kind of stuff if you had to watch it over 6 years. This show was talking about an experience, so perfectly crafted that both of your shows are fan service shows, culture. I argue they're all cult shows, but so many specific people don't like Veronica Mars. You have to either like it or you're out. When you look up the reviews of that show, they like it or not. Firefly, I like it. It's great, but it's so short. You're just going to be sad after it's over. Breaking Bad, way more people, if you're saying what show's the best to binge watch, Breaking Bad hands down is going to have more people go watch it and leave going, wow, I just watched one of the best shows in television.
Yeah, maybe leave after watching it 2 weeks later. I totally argue that watching Firefly is ending up being a sad experience, because I don't think you can have a cult following for over 10 years of a show that was only one season unless the fan base genuinely loved the show and the experience that they got out of that one season and then went on to the movie. However, for the TV show, not only do you have the experiences, the world, the characters that you love, it spawned so many different other stories. It spawned so many other venues for these characters. I think that show, you can get into it, you love it for a season, and it carries with you for the rest of your life, as opposed to both of your shows. I'm not going to be thinking about Breaking Bad 15 years from now.
Ooh, challenge that.
All right, hi Ken.
Hey Roxy, how you doing?
Okay,
You ready for this one today?
Yeah, it was a really good first fight. How are the
Hey,
facts looking?
that's
Man, we
great.
went strong. High five,
Yeah.
guys.
All
Facts
right.
are good. Just looking up, I looked up the IMDb average user rating by season for Breaking Bad, and they do go up with each season. Only season 2 and 3 they stayed the same, and they climbed. And a lot of people on Twitter talked about the definition of cult. I will say Breaking Bad, the first 2 seasons, was that show your friends kind of told you about, and it did kind of grow. So I think the definition does work there. A lot of people checking in on Twitter under hashtag TV Fights Live. Morgan Robinson at the Purple Dawn says, best binge show, easy. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Our friends Kimber and Tom say, Lieberman, Serenity did not suck. Jonathan Peck says, Community is the best TV show. Patricia Carrillo says, Firefly, that's it. Let's go home. So the show's over, people.
Oh, okay,
Done.
we're done. If they say so. All right. Guys, I think that everybody pitched a cult show, so that wasn't where I was really looking.
Okay.
I think that these all qualified. The only question was Breaking Bad, and I don't feel like the arguments were strong enough against it for it not to be a cult following. So all of them were cult followings. So which one was the best to binge watch is really where I was looking at this one. And I think one person argued how binge watching it enhance the experience more than watching it week to week. So Michele, your argument was just that this is an amazing show, and it felt like a really good launch pad for the movie and for the fans to stay in love with this. But it is only 12 episodes, so you could binge it in a day, and then that's the end of the experience. So Michele, this was one between Matt and Andy. This was really tough for me, guys, because Veronica Mars, you talked about the binge watching experience and the being able to watch 4 to 5 hours straight, which I think really works. The mystery's paying off. But Andy also had mysteries paying off and said that there are things you wouldn't catch if you were just watching week to week. So because of that distinction, things that you wouldn't catch, Andy, you get the point on this one.
Can we agree? How cool is it that they brought his pants back in the finale?
That was really cool.
I'm not going to say it's not cool. I'm not going to say it's not cool.
It's awesome.
But I would also argue that the majority of people binge watching that show wouldn't notice.
Well, you would if you watched it back to back.
Yeah.
More so if you didn't.
I binge watched that show and I noticed. I did. So I think that all of these things, it's crazy how much of a difference it can make when you are watching it like that.
But by that particular argument, you would also love Lost.
True.
You know, just for those
Who
first and
loves
last
Lost?
episode.
That was the worst.
I mean,
Which I do. I totally love that show. Just saying. Guys, let's go into round 2.
All right.
This is a question coming from Twitter. We love you guys so much over on Twitter. Thank you for submitting these using hashtag TV Fights. This is from @StephenDuffley, who wants to know, what live action show would be better if it was animated? Starting with Matt, then Michele, and then Andy.
Okay, I gotta go Doctor Who. Let's talk about animation versus live action. An animated show, in my opinion, something should only be animated if you can build off of its core concept and do things that the budget limitations of a live action show could never allow you to do. And Doctor Who is a show where the core concept is you are traveling through time and space, meeting aliens, saving planets, saving the galaxy. You don't just have people sitting around a room talking. You don't have a legal procedural. Every episode you're supposed to see something fantastic, and this is a show that is constantly hampered by its budget. It stretches it to its limits. But there are certain kinds of stories that Doctor Who could never do because its budget will never be high enough.
Okay, Michele.
my show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You want to talk about budget constrictions, limiting the ridiculousness? Let's talk about this show and what it could do once you have an animated series. And luckily for me, there has actually been some animated series for this, so there's actual evidence that's supporting my argument. All of the little episodes that are little animated shorts are amazing. You have talking animals, you have baby stores, you have time travel, you have things that you can't do on that show for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because they're pretty much just constrained to a bar and kind of low budget and whatever it is that they can do. So personally for me, I love to see them taking over Avatar and seeing what you can do about like sexually explicit scenes with random like cat blue people and mating with trees. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is going to take those situations and stretch them to their absolute limit.
Okay, Andy.
I picked Community, and I think using both of your arguments of this budget problem, that to me is the biggest, works here the most for Community, just because I feel like this show changes genres every episode. This show has been animated in numerous episodes. It's some of their best episodes. The biggest problem is like shows only work because of the characters, and this relationship and these characters worked. When did the show not work? When the characters left. No one wants to work with Chevy Chase, but you know how you can work with Chevy Chase? In a VO booth where you don't have to be next to him. And so Community would have worked so much better and longer because they could have gone crazy with their ideas. This show, both your shows are more linear, have to follow similar stories. Community literally does whatever they want and goes anywhere. And it's by Dan Harmon, who makes the coolest animated show right now, Rick and Morty. So what if he had just taken the reins off and Community could be animated? Donald on the left, Chevy Chase, everyone could have tolerated him doing voice work instead of having to act with him. This show would be off the chain and it would be amazing, and I want to see it.
Okay.
I personally feel like part of the reason I love Community is because they do so many different genres and are able to do it so well. So honestly, I love watching the live action characters. I think you lose something when you go to animation because I watched some of the animated shorts with Abed's Master Key. They've done a couple shorts. It did not work as well because you lost some of the subtleties of those characters and how well those actors portray those characters when you don't have it in live action anymore.
It's the same problem in yours, though. You have the same problem of amazing characters.
Both shows do have the same problem.
But the problem with the difference is yours is just dirty. So yours is South Park. And so once you make them dirty, it's just, I've seen that before a million times on cartoons.
The charm of both of these shows is the scrappiness with which they use their
Hey,
low
let's team
budgets.
up on this.
Oh yeah. I was waiting for
Doctor Who fan in the right mind.
No,
the question is,
hold on, let Andy talk.
The question here is, what live action show would be better animated?
Yes.
So you're throwing away Doctor Who and making a cartoon instead? Are you really saying that on TV Fights?
Yeah, I'm saying that if you could do an hour-long cartoon, an hour-long animated series where you could hop between multiple time periods in one episode.
Hold on.
Whoa.
Guys, because I can't hear a word you guys are saying, so nobody's going to win this fight. No,
Yeah.
Matt, we're on Matt.
Okay, here's the thing. The reason why It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia works is because of what they're able to do with their budgetary constraints in that bar. The reason why we love these characters so much is because they had to come up with quirks for them, things to make them interesting, to make us care about a show that was largely set in a bar. The same thing happens with Community. Both shows are ultimately people sitting around a room chatting with each other. And yes, Community can try on different genres. Yes, they can get creative, but the fact is, if they were able to do anything, the show wouldn't be as impressive, because what they're able to do to parody genres and to try things on without ever leaving a community college, you wouldn't do that if it was animated. If you were animated, you would actually go to another
I
planet.
want to use your exact same argument against your choice, because the whole reason Doctor Who works is because they had budgetary constraints. You have the scariest villains being a giant pepper pot and a non-moving statue.
They wouldn't be a giant pepper pot or a non-moving statue if it was animated.
And that is why it wouldn't have
tanked.
worked. And that is why it wouldn't have worked. Doctor Who works because it inspires fear and inspires love in these things that they don't have the budget for. It's not a giant CGI
Are you saying that
monster.
no animated series ever has engendered passion or love
I'm
or
saying
fear
Doctor
from you?
Who does not work better as an animated show.
No, you said that a
because-
cartoon couldn't give you those same emotions.
I'm saying Doctor Who does not work as that.
Doctor
I'm
Who
saying
doesn't
Doctor
work.
Who.
It
Doctor
doesn't
Who.
work.
Doctor Who works because you have these situations that they had to work with zero budget, and so instead they had to come up with stories to invent these things.
Doctor Who could still have those same stories and better stories without bad special effects or without small rooms to keep people in. And it's beloved because of its characters, and because of the Doctor himself and the concept.
Got it, heard it. You're wrong, because there's too many people who love that show, and to throw that show out, it's one of the best sci-fi television shows
So you're
of all
saying
time.
that we should
It's
throw
like
out Community?
No, but did I like Star Trek the cartoon? No, not as much as I like Star Trek.
That was a show for kids.
No, but that's what would happen. You're completely making an amazing show. So Michelle, I'm taking seriously because she has a very valid fight here. But here's my problem: the bar, they're stuck in that bar, and it's like you can't go crazy onto space planets in that bar. What makes them work is, as he said, is that dynamic, dirty character flaws in a bar. Community allows us to go anywhere we want.
But is that why we fell in love with the show?
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Community the cartoon, I think, would have live action sections, just like Community the live action series has cartoons. So it would work. It would work in that format. And Dan Harmon proves to me, show me the right showrunner that's also pulled off animated shows in yours.
Hang on, my actual
Final
argument
thought from you.
My actual argument on this is that I have seen Community's animated shorts. They had a chance to do anything they
Claymation one was
wanted,
great.
and they had a chance to do whatever they wanted with animated, and they never really left that college. They didn't move
they
on
did.
and do
Claymation,
crazy
the
things.
G.I. Joe
the actual
episode.
animated episodes. But I'm talking
G.I. Joe
about.
episode.
Hold on. So I'm talking that
They
just
did.
the actual animated ones versus like the animated shorts from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They invaded Pandora. You have that dynamic that can still work even if you're not inside that bar. The craziness of interacting with talking animals actually works on that show, as opposed to Community, where you can do the same thing live action.
Final thought, Matt.
Here's the thing. If you were to make It's Always Sunny animated, it wouldn't be about the characters. How is it improving the show? If either of these series were allowed to be animated every week, it wouldn't benefit them because they would be exhausting. It would just be, okay, we're getting funny idea after funny idea. If that's fine, I'll go watch an animated series. What made these shows so powerful and engendered such a passionate fan base for both is we fell in love with watching these people get into trouble and figure shit out week to week. And I would say
Likewise.
that's especially
Like,
on Community,
exactly.
which
Yes,
didn't
exactly.
try on new genres until almost the end of its first season. And a lot of the people who fell in love with that show fell in love with a show that was about a mixed up group of people who should never have gotten to know each other, bonding around a table and trying to survive being at a community college that sucked and learning how to grow. Now I know that in the Claymation episode,
It's good.
It's
a
good
good episode. He's admitting it.
Look, I'm not going to be the jerk who tries to deny that it's a good
8-bit episode was great.
Wrap it up, Matt.
Okay, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that
They
that's
pulled
not
it
great.
off.
But I'm saying that you're not going to be able to get that level of emotion from a show that was always animated. If we're taking the show away and replacing it with an animated series, we would never have fallen in love with those characters the way that we
Andy,
did.
final
Totally
thoughts.
disagree. I mean, the characters are there. You still have those characters. You have those amazing actors portraying those characters, and you admit it. The show didn't work when the characters weren't there. And the question is, what would be better animated? We would have gotten a longer, probably healthier, more crazy run without Harmon having to worry about studio telling him what to do, because he wouldn't have as much budget constraints. He could have as much fun as he wanted with these characters in a community college that could go be superheroes every week, do live action sections, do whatever you want, which I think both your shows doesn't allow.
Wow. Is that a good Andy?
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Isn't this a tough job?
Yeah, it's really
Everyone
tough.
gives me crap.
It's really tough. But I want to hear a little bit from our friend Ken on the couch. Hi, Ken.
Hey, this is also how business meetings with Andy go, too. This is great. You're getting behind the scenes. Hey, I'm also checking YouTube comments, too, because we're live today on YouTube. Some of you are really nice there.
Not as nice on YouTube.
Yeah.
Why are you so mean on YouTube?
Jack Shipley
scary place.
Jack Shipley says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be a great animated series. It'd have more superheroes in the show. Mike Gibbons saying Buffy would be great animated. Luke Jackson checking in. War Luke is his Twitter handle. Says Doctor Who would be ruined by being animated. So
Thank
you
you.
have some enemies, Lieberman. And Devin McLaughlin says I may get flack for this, but I think The Walking Dead would be great in
Yeah,
animated.
I was thinking that one.
Yeah.
Those are some good ones.
I was thinking about that.
Okay, two of
motion
you guys.
comic.
Two of you guys had a very similar argument over here, and one had a very different one. Unfortunately, Matt, I feel like when you were taking away Doctor Who, it was just too precious of a show to take away, and I feel like they made that point very clear. Also, because of what Michele said, that one of the best parts about the show is the quirkiness because of the restraints of the budget. So this one was between Andy and Michele, who had similar arguments. The person who took this for me was actually because the other person lost it with a comment. Andy, you lost it for me when you said that you could have some live action episodes too. So we were trying to pitch what show would be better as an animated show, and you were still trying to throw in the live action portion because
So does
people liked it.
Is Community animated series?
The Community
Is
and
Community an animated series?
well, that's what you were trying to
No,
pitch.
but it's not. It's a live action series that had cartoon elements. That's all I was saying.
Well,
But,
you're saying
go ahead.
it's what show would be better if it was animated, and that show you were saying it would be better if it was animated with live action
No, I
elements.
just meant
to
having
it.
a live action episode like they have a cartoon
Right, but you're
episode.
still missing
You-
it.
you-
Her
sure. You
whole
win.
show, guys, he's trying
For the
to.
commenters, I want my thing clarified.
I hear
You
you,
still win.
but I think that with Always Sunny, you made a really good point. All of the things.
I'd watch that
from the
cartoon.
budget. Yeah,
I would absolutely
it was
watch
really
that
good.
cartoon.
And the arguments against it was that it would be dirty and raunchy and similar to South Park, which is a really successful show that also rocks. So, Michele, you get the point on that
Yay.
one. Okay, guys, going into round 3.
I just was saying I didn't want it to be Roger Rabbit.
No, I know you weren't pitching
All right,
Roger
good,
Rabbit,
good.
but you were pitching an animated show, and part of it was that you wanted still live action.
You have a live action Christmas special in the cartoon of
It's a whole
Community.
different thing.
Yeah, that
You
wouldn't
need
cost
a
a lot of
cartoon.
money.
It would cost a lot of money.
Yeah, it would cost a lot of money.
All right,
You
guys.
also alleged
South
that
Park
Donald
did that
Glover
too.
wouldn't have left.
I love the South Park part where they had the boys in the boat as humans. Do you remember that?
Oh,
I
that
am
was great.
taking control
That
of
was a
this
good
ship
moment.
We will
again,
get to
guys.
argue again.
We are coming
excited.
back here
You're good.
because there's something I really want to talk about. And thank you to this Twitter fan for tweeting this question at Mad17. Maximus wants to know, after the People vs. OJ, what real life crime should the show take on next? We know that they're already doing Katrina, but the one after that, starting with Michele, then Andy, and then Matt.
All right. This is a crazy question because not only was there a lot of real life crime to actually choose from, I was also trying to do something that was a bit more modern day, but not necessarily had already been done to death by TV. So I chose Ted Bundy because you got 3 trials to choose from. And not only that, he was found guilty. Everyone knew he was guilty. So even though you know the verdict, you know what's going to happen in the show, you get to see him progress through 3 different trials, 2 escapes, by the way, where he wasn't able to actually come back until like 8 days later. They didn't even notice he was gone. You get to see the mind of this man who went from being confident enough to defend himself in court to just being completely broken at the end, and getting to see while he was escaped why he couldn't stop killing. I think that psychological breakdown would be fascinating.
Andy.
The reason the People vs. OJ is so good for me right now is because you're like, this happened? Like the lovable Nordberg from Naked Gun like did all these things?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just fascinated by the extreme of what. So if we're comparing another thing to that, there's only one it's not he's becoming a celebrity now, but it's Stephen Avery, Making a Murder. I want to see the telling docu-series, the real scripted series of how this went down. I want to see the DAs and everybody. I want to see the behind-the-scenes drama that we're going to create like they're doing with OJ. Because there's just, this thing is another example of how did this happen, the twists, the turns. There's so much more stuff that happens here, and I want to argue about them specifically, but I think for people who are afraid of watching a documentary, there's a story here about just the judicial system, and there's an amazing drama that unfolds, that's still unfolding, that I think would just be a fascinating thing to see actors and filmmakers portray.
Matt.
For me, if I'm watching a Ryan Murphy show, it's going to be loud. It's going to be very much his. And he's obsessed with celebrity. So for me, I got to go with the Michael Jackson molestation trial. Much like the OJ trial, it's a story that we know about, but we don't really know what happened. And ultimately, while people have opinions about it, we still don't know really, did it actually happen? We have testimony on one side, and we have a public figure on the other, which is why it falls perfectly in line with what is so addictive about The People versus OJ this season.
Here's my problem. Did it actually happen? There's not enough. He all four cases or all the counts were thrown out. He was innocent. I don't want to watch the movie about Michael Jackson's genitalia and molesting little boys. I would much rather see a movie about Michael Jackson and the Bashir documentary. That to me is a more interesting take, but we're talking about the trial.
The only
that
people
trial
who
is
care,
depressing.
The only people who care about the Stephen
Sounds
Avery
gross.
case, the only
Is
people who care about the
everyone in
Stephen
America
Avery
right now?
No, is everyone who's seen that documentary. I don't want to see Ryan Murphy's version of that. I already have the story.
The best parts are when OJ does a lie detector test and fails, and Travolta, seeing the behind the scenes of Robert Kardashian, all these things. I didn't know that drama. Like seeing that now, the ex-wife who's coming out.
So this is a trial that you're saying you didn't really know anything about?
No, I didn't know about the ex-wife.
Right.
More stuff's coming out every day.
So Making a Murderer, the addictive documentary series, you're saying doesn't cover it thoroughly, but you don't feel like you understand the case.
Judging documentaries, I'm saying there's so much to grab there, whereas yours, you have to talk about his penis and little boys that he molested.
I have to agree.
I don't want to watch that. I love the idea of the Michael Jackson
documentary. I don't want to watch the
documentary,
background of this.
but
I don't want to see these kids.
Hold on, stop, Michelle, go ahead.
I don't want to see these kids who have grown up and had to deal with this, possibly their entire life, having to relive this just on a personal human level. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see this rehashed out again. And as far as yours for Making a Murderer, I kind of have to go with him on this. It's kind of been done. You've seen
we
the
haven't
TV.
seen a serial killer story before, like Ted Bundy?
But you've seen not
They've
this
made
way.
5 movies already about it.
But not modern day. You didn't get to see the same way.
No. We're telling the story the way it happened. OJ is back in 1994.
This is talking about 3 different trials. We're talking over a
in the
period
80s,
of like
correct?
several 70s.
70s, sorry.
Yes. So we're going for. I mean, this is something that could still happen for one thing. The Michael Jackson trial, like honestly, it's kind of. I can't imagine that situation ever really occurring again unless there's a monkey named Bubbles out there that I'm not aware of. So
first of all, there are plenty of monkeys named Bubbles out there. Second of all, let's talk about a dramatization. Why are we watching a TV series, a scripted show, instead of a documentary? Because of compelling characters at its core. Stephen Avery, if you watch that documentary, he's the least interesting part of it. So why am I tuning in?
OJ is interesting?
OJ
is boring too.
OJ is interesting because I don't know if he did it.
I don't know if Avery did it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Michael Jackson
And
did
who's
it,
the
but I
biggest
don't want to watch that.
Who is the biggest celebrity right now? Honestly, it's Stephen Avery.
He is not the biggest celebrity.
Is watching this show.
Are you kidding?
And talking about it.
Stephen Avery's a bigger celebrity than Kanye West or
TMZ
Taylor
every
Swift.
day.
Oh,
Check it out. Check it out. TMZ every day is revealing new facts
This
about
is the exact same
And
thing
Ted
that
Bundy-
happened last year with Serial. Adnan Syed was the biggest celebrity last year. Next year, it's not going to be Stephen Avery.
Yeah,
He's
no one's
nowhere
gonna
near
care.
the
The
level
reason
that
why
both
is
Ted
because
Bundy and Michael Jackson are
The
at.
reason what you said is because we don't know. There's still stuff coming out, and there's so much fascination on this story, and you can put some amazing casting in there and get that really juicy. Ted Bundy's been done to death. I've seen that I've seen that movie. Literally, I looked it
No
up.
pun
There are
intended.
5 movies that showed us the Ted Bundy story. None of them are very good. It's a serial killer. He was a handsome dude who tricked women and raped them. I've seen that. Not only the Ted Bundy story. I've seen that serial killer story told so many times. There's not enough twists. You can't tell me the reason OJ works is because you can't. You're like, he got a Bronco and then ran around. The fact that there's so much story in the Making a Murderer that you just can't believe happened.
Right,
The
but
fact that Ken
I
Kratz
already
was
watched it.
The Ken Kratz was like sending weird, dirty sexual emails to like the witnesses. Like that's television to its best.
Look,
exactly.
I already
We know
watched
that
it.
because we watched
that
that
wasn't in the
show.
documentary.
Pause. Matt, go ahead.
I already watched that show. It's called Making a Murderer, and it's a show that doesn't have an ending. This show,
We saw all these murders.
No, The people
We saw them all on TV.
We
saw OJ on TV.
Yeah, we did, but it ends. We know where it ends. We have an arc for this show. And if we're watching a Ryan Murphy show, it's going to be loud, it's going to be ridiculous, it's going to have crazy stunt casting, and I want to see that with a crazy, splashy Hollywood
plays the
story
molested
like
boy?
this. Who plays the
Who plays
molested
his penis?
Who
Not to
plays his
mention, I don't
penis?
really need to say, I'm sorry, we
The
already
voice
have
of James
Hollywood,
Earl Jones
we already
plays
have
his
Hollywood
penis.
screwing up a Michael Jackson casting with Joseph Fiennes, so
Amen.
I don't really
So
need
then
to
let's
see it again.
rectify that, Ryan Murphy style.
After we're talking about little boys' penises, I got called around. Hi, Ken. How you doing over there?
Pretty soon, this episode of TV Fights will be featured on American Crime, the way it's going. And who plays his penis is now the quote of the game in the running for that.
I want Twitter to cast it, Ken. Who's
Yeah.
playing Michael Jackson's penis?
Joseph Fiennes, obviously.
Obviously.
Four-
Ray Fiennes?
Ray Fiennes would do an
Fiennes.
incredible job.
It's still going.
I call on you, Ken.
4 properties listed in IMDb based on Ted Bundy, the latest in 2008. And 8. Lloyd Edwards checking in as big as the NFL is. Aaron Hernandez is a great pick. New Year's Babies is the next American crime story. Puff Daddy shooting up the club. One close to my heart, Kylo Ren on trial for killing his father. That I know it's real. And finally, at Monday Shirt 69 says, can I just say it's a crime that Monday doesn't have shirts for sale?
Oh, shut up.
I'm also checking in
He tweets
on
everywhere.
YouTube. You guys are checking in. Over 3,000 people watching live. A lot of you for the first time. Welcome to TV Fights. Hashtag TV Fights Live is where we're having a conversation on Twitter as well.
Would that be Monday versus the shirts or
No,
Monday
Monday wants
versus the
a shirt.
people? Oh, so
He's yelling at us to make a Monday Night Raw shirt.
so Monday versus Screen Junkies.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what he's
I
doing.
guess,
Oh,
yes.
got it. Okay, Monday. Thank you guys seriously for watching live. We really, really appreciate it. This fight for me is the person that's winning it is the person. Oh my God, I'm going to get so much slack for this, but it's the person who's we haven't seen. We haven't seen the story. We haven't heard the story. I'm voting for little boys' penises. Matt, you get
There's
the
the
point on
quote.
this one.
Ryan
the quote
Murphy
right there.
presents Little Boys' Penises coming to your
Can I say-
televisions in 2017.
Can I say the answer
Starring
I wish
Joseph
Spencer, I didn't want to steal it from him, but the one we should have done, Tanya Harding.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one, right?
Yeah.
I should have switched.
Darn
Nancy
it.
Kerrigan,
That's a
Tanya
good
Harding.
one.
That's the one he's going to do.
Have you
next.
seen Tanya Harding the musical?
No.
It's
but-
That
amazing.
exists?
That was the best
Yeah.
Oh
answer.
dear
You
God.
could have just picked it and not given him credit and just
Yeah,
put
I'm
him
gonna
on
do
the
that.
run.
Let's
He's
do
a
it.
good
But
boss.
Yeah, I want to do my own.
We're all changing our answers.
All right,
That was a good
guys.
answer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
that's
one.
a damn
Really
good answer.
Let's go into round 4, guys. Also coming from Twitter, from @CaroBlade, wants to know who's the most badass non-human TV character of all time. A lot for you guys to choose from, so I'm excited for this round. Starting with Andy, and then Matt, and then Michelle.
It's Alf. Gordon Shumway, man. This guy came out of Melmac, his planet destroyed. Now, his planet is destroyed. Did you know that Alf was born in 1756? So he's like several hundred years old. But anyway, he came from the Lower East Side of Melmac, which is destroyed because he was on a, what was it? I wanted to call it what he was an Melmac orbit guard at the time, and his planet was destroyed by a nuclear weapon. He's since come to Earth. He's even talked to the president to try and save Earth. This guy is an amazing alien who lives, his real name Gordon, everyone thinks it's Alf, it's not. He's Gordon Shumway, lives with his family. He's the biggest badass because he eats cats. He puts cats. He has 6 stomachs. Was it 6 stomachs? I wanted to make sure I get the number right. It's
Fact-checking.
He has multiple stomachs. I wanted to verify 8 stomachs. Sorry, I don't want to be wrong on my Alf facts because I am actually a fan. I
2
don't know
more
myself.
stomachs than you gave him credit for.
8 stomachs, exactly right. 8 stomachs. This guy, he's the master of disguise. He was a good pitchman. He's so funny. He could tell he had a heart. Alf was the best, lovable but tough ass alien there was, and that's what I'm picking.
All right, Matt.
I gotta go back to Doctor Who. It's the Doctor. He's over 1,200 years old. He's saved the universe countless times, mostly without ever lifting a finger, just using the power of his brain. A true badass. Doesn't commit violence, doesn't kill people, certainly doesn't eat defenseless animals. He is somebody who uses his brain power and uses his reasoning skills to protect and defend and save countless planets over and over and over again without ever expecting a thank you. A true badass is somebody who can take down an army with a word, and the Doctor is that man.
Michelle.
All right. I would just like to focus on the word badass. So I'm going with Bender from Futurama. We have a badass, womanizing, chain-smoking robot who is essentially Inspector Gadget with no heart whatsoever. He has multiple data socket ports. He can change into pretty much a Swiss Army knife if he really wants to. And by the way, as far as character creation, he was named for John Bender from The Breakfast Club, one of the best badasses of all time, and Bukowski, one of the best literary badasses of all time. And this is my crowning point. He can produce beer inside his own body. Thank you.
Look, no one wants to hang out with the overly drunk person that long. He's just not a person you want to be around. So that's my problem. He's an alcoholic. He's a terrible person, and that
the question
also,
is,
what
I'm sorry,
badass
hold on.
is an alcoholic?
His mommy.
The question
aren't
right there.
alcoholics.
He escaped a death squad sent by his mommy, and the question is not the most lovable person you
It's
want to spend
badass.
time with. It's badass.
Okay.
Which
He's
is
a
also
drunk.
why I can't go with Alf. Yeah, okay, he has 8 stomachs, which makes him 2 cows. Awesome. He's also cool. He's lovable. He's furry. Very cool. He's not gonna sit there and take down an entire civilization if he
A
needs
badass
to.
Fight's fair.
Hold on.
Wait,
Can I respond to that?
Only
This is like
when
the
you tell me, do
debates.
cows have 4 stomachs?
Don't they?
Cows do have 4
Oh,
stomachs.
wow, that's good. I didn't know that. Andy,
Listen
go
to
ahead.
this. Al, I'm gonna go. Sir, he had the heart. I wanted to start with the lovable part, but Alf wasn't just lovable. Did you know that the actors on this show hated Alf? He took 20 hours to take takes. This guy was a diva. He could never get his takes right because he just didn't care. There were death traps around that set.
Are you
because
alleging
his handlers,
that the character-
his handlers had to help make this last? They would break their ankles on the set. Did you also know that the person who helped he had a joke writer who helped him a little bit because badasses have a cronies, right? They have people like in their crew. This guy
Diva
Jerry Stahl
does not equal badass.
was on heroin. Jerry Stahl, who helped write a lot of Al's material, was on heroin during the whole show.
Wait, so you just said that an alcoholic isn't fun to spend time with?
No,
a heroin addict is a badass?
Alf's buddies was a heroin. I'm saying his joke writer's crew. This guy hung with badass people. Alf had the heart, but
So
he
wait,
hung with the crew.
that heroin addict is a badass, but I can't have a drink any day? What's
Oh,
going
your guy's an
on?
alcoholic.
Also,
who's
you're
his
saying
crew?
the creator was a heroin addict, not the character. The character is who we're talking about is a badass. And ultimately, this is a guy who loafs around the house,
a badass,
mooching off of people and eating defenseless cats.
Hold on, let's go back
and
to
this is a robot who wants to kill all humans.
Pause. We're going to Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Look, a true badass doesn't prey on the innocent, doesn't prey on the defenseless, like Bender kill all humans bending Rodriguez, okay? Somebody who wants to just murder people just because he can. That's not a badass.
Yeah,
That's a
I agree.
psychopath.
He's a psychopath.
Right, and you're making points about what makes
No,
Gordon
he's a
Shumway
tough
a
ass.
badass, what's making him a badass, but it's all about the people who are around him.
because-
It is not the character. The
Here's the
character
truth.
who cost people 20 hours on set that people hated, who were jealous of.
Your
They were
doctor-
talking about the
your
people
doctor
who are
changes
making
We're
so
talking
often.
about Doctor now for a second.
Your doctor changes more often
And
than I can count.
way too reliant on companions, by the
Yeah.
way. He completely lost his shit once he didn't have his best buddy in the TARDIS with him.
And which doctor are you picking?
This is somebody who, he's all one character. This
And
is
also-
somebody who let his entire species die.
This is
to
someone who
save
could have
the
destroyed
galaxy,
the
to save all
Daleks
of time.
entirely and didn't do it.
Because it was the
Because he
right
could have
thing to
saved,
do.
Because he could have saved his entire race by killing all the Daleks, and he did not
He
do it.
has killed all the Daleks.
He let how many innocent children die on
Yep.
Gallifrey? How many? I'm pretty sure he has the
I'm
number
sorry.
memorized.
All right, final thoughts,
Here's-
starting with Andy.
Here's the problem. A badass, right? A badass has a heart. A badass isn't just an evil villain or a drunk or an alcoholic or it's just a badass has a little bit of everything, but he's at the end of the day he doesn't care. You know the biggest badass move Alf pulled? His final episode is him being stuck by a spaceship who's going to take him off. To be continued. Never heard from him again. He walked out. He left everyone hanging. Alf didn't give an F, and Alf will eat a cat, and he didn't murder people, but he could, and he didn't. So that's why Alf's the biggest badass. He's the cuddly and the dangerous.
I think you're...
And he hangs out with like heroin dealers and people like that's no one knew that. Last quote. Sorry, Tina Fey on the 75th anniversary at NBC. Who was the hardest person to work with? Alf.
I think, Andy, you're mixing up the words badass and asshole.
Agreed.
Because this is just somebody who was a bum who laid around somebody's house for years and then just frickin' left. A true badass is somebody who can take down an empire by just speaking his name, who people around the entire universe of throughout time are afraid of because if they piss him off, they know they will be ended in a second. And also, Bender isn't a badass. He's also a jerk. He's just a jerk. A jerk who doesn't appreciate his best friend, who ultimately has a soft spot, but really, 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 when it comes to saving people, do you know how often he just does it by just by the skin of his teeth or just by the shine off of his shiny metal ass? This is somebody who spends most of his life complaining and whining and drinking and burping.
I would just say that as far as badass is concerned, even the gentleman here cannot stop himself from quoting about his shiny metal ass. So I personally feel, as far as Doctor Who is concerned, sorry, he had a chance to be a badass over and over, and it's only really his companions that kind of keep him in check. Mm-hmm. They're the key behind the Doctor, really, which is why he can't do anything without them. And Alf, I'm sorry, I can't call anything that I kept as a plushy little toy in bed with me as a badass.
He could kill you in your sleep.
I know a
I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat.
Our
I'm
very
not
own
scared.
badass is sitting on the couch. Hi, Ken.
Hey, Roxy.
Is that a good segue? Because you're cool. I think you're cool,
Perfect.
Ken. Did you get that?
Cool, and I have killed a man. This episode of TV Fights is now louder than a Who concert in 1977. Alien life form is what ALF stands for. And Andy, sleep well. All your facts on ALF were correct.
Yes.
Your cred is intact. Roxy, cows can also produce milk and cheeseburgers. That's the purpose there.
Didn't
So you
know.
voted. A lot of people checking in as usual. Uniquely Philly says, hashtag TV Fights Live is trending on Twitter in Philly, which is Andy Signore's hometown.
Oh, yeah.
So you got it. Noah Shays checks in saying the tick is a good answer. Sam Hurley at Surly Ham says Megatron for the Transformers will wipe the floor with all three of these fools. And D checking in saying Scooby, a Scooby-Doo.
Really? Okay.
I don't
I
know if I
almost
hear
went
that.
with
That
Optimus Prime.
stoned dog?
I almost did.
I think you can
Kinda
be kind of
badass.
badass. Yeah, I guess. All right.
Now that I think about it.
A dog that's
Kinda like
brave
Alf.
enough to be a
Kinda like Alf.
pothead on TV?
Alf was doing shit too.
Hey guys, this is my time now.
hey.
This is,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
right.
when I
Sorry,
get
Roxy.
to judge the fights. All right, Michelle, I think that you didn't do a good enough job describing what a badass was and how your character fit that. You said that he was womanizing and chain smoking, but I didn't really hear from you like the picture of a badass as opposed to these two men who described what a badass was, what their version of a badass was, and how their character fit that.
Sure, I did. Womanizing, chain smoking, alcohol.
Yeah, so I feel like they made more of a picture of badass and then put their character into the picture. One of you guys' picture, I think, was a more accurate depiction of badass, and that person is somebody who is taking down armies with one word, and who was helping people and using the power of his brain. I will say that Alf not giving an F was a very close call, but Matt, overall, you get the point on this one.
Thank you. You just wanted to try to win with that. You were just so giddy about the
I
idea
know.
of beating us with
Hey,
that.
It's just like, if I can
Try-
argue
try- yeah.
Alf as
If I
a
can argue it Alf,
badass,
I can do
fun,
I
anything.
can win the
By the way,
world.
Here to have fun.
Andy is now appearing at AlfCon first time this year.
Love that.
Are you their keynote
They
speaker?
really did leave us hanging in the season finale.
did.
It was
Yeah,
really
completely.
brutal.
They did.
Yeah.
Literally, as a kid, I'm like, Dad, when's Alf coming back? And he never came back. He
Never.
came back for like a TV movie that didn't really resolve anything.
Are you doing okay because of it?
Yeah, no, that's probably where a lot of my problems come
harsh.
from.
No, I feel like you've recovered. You're doing
Thank
all
you.
right. And you're going to like this next question. I'm going to need your help with it because I want a little description here. But we have a new show for round 5. Thank you, JTE, at Screen Junkies. And Andy, you're the co-host of
Yes,
it. So
with Hector
maybe you can-
Navarro.
Yeah, with Hector,
Who was
who's been
going
on
to
the
be here,
show.
couldn't be here today, so
Yeah,
I'm in his place.
He's an amazing fighter. He comes on here. But Knocking Dead, can you tell us a little bit
Knocking
about
Dead,
it?
yeah. I mean, the Knocking Dead, to me, the problem with Talking Dead is that you can't really be honest about it. And I think we came on a good episode last night. Monday's episode, or Sunday's Walking Dead episode was really great.
It was incredible.
I have a feeling in a few more episodes it's going to stagger again, and we're going to be walking in the woods some more. And so that's what this show is about: is how do we really keep them honest and try and talk about it in a fun ways where it's not just hating on it. We talk positively all about it on Monday, but Monday's 1 p.m. here on ScreenJunkies Plus. You can watch Hector, I, and special guests if you guys want to hate on or talk about it. Come on up by. But yeah, every 1 o'clock we'll talk about the show and show stuff and say what we think.
They do that thing where they tease us with an amazing episode, and then 3 episodes down the line, it's like,
Just like,
That's what
we're
we
back
said
now.
on a trailer today.
Okay.
We dropped it, volume 2, and it's like, yeah, every season has like 2 great episodes, 2 good episodes, and then 4 hours of filler.
Oh, you're miserable.
Yeah, just misery
Okay.
porn.
Yeah. No, I completely am with that. So Knocking Dead, Mondays, 1 p.m.
Yes, thank you
with
for the
and
plug.
Hector. Yeah, of course. And this actually brings us to our next question, guys, which is, what is the best TV show to hate watch? We're going to start with Matt on this one, then Michelle, Michelle, and then finish with Andy.
Okay, my choice, maybe an outside pick for you guys. It's Mr. Robot, a show that for some reason people are just creaming over and have been since it premiered, even though it is so derivative of every 90s edgy movie, even stealing their twists straight from those movies. Meanwhile, it's just a boring show about a dude who mumbles, being freaked out, staring at screens not even often enough, with loony villains that don't make any sense. This is a show that I had to keep watching because Rolling Stone put it as their #1 TV show of the year, when it was flat out stupid and boring for almost all of it. The pilot was okay. The pilot was okay, but it never built on that. And the fact that so many people love it, and I just can't understand why, is why I have to watch it just to see what's going on. Is it ever going to get better? And it never does.
Okay, Michelle.
Okay, well, we also went with what show we really love to watch and love to kind of hate on. So my pick wasn't necessarily the most mentally captivating show, but Gossip Girl. I will just say, between the clothes, the Upper East Side machinations, Chuck Bass has ruined me forever for relationships. Thank you very much. Whether or not he and Blair ever get together, Serena's gorgeous hair, I'm sorry, but even though I couldn't find any reason to really watch it, I kept going back week after week after week, and that is not even mentioning Kristen Bell as the actual voice of Gossip Girl, who just kept you going the entire time. And if you're talking about hate to watch, let's just talk about the whole ending, because oh dear God, I haven't hated watching anything in a while, but I couldn't stop.
XOXO, Andy.
This wasn't intentional, but I got to pick Walking Dead. And I think the reasons we all sort of already said. The question is, what's the best show you love to hate? And there's no other show that pisses you off more often than Walking Dead. Walking Dead, the reason, though, it's the best is because it'll have a moment. There'll be one shimmering moment where it's like, yes! And then it just completely craps on you, drags you through the mud, makes you wait, and you just hate it. And I hate it. I hate that I still watch that show now for 6 years. Every week I have to wait for their dumb backstory episodes just for something to happen. And then I'm like, was that kind of worth it? No. And there's no other show now, especially that I feel like people really combined around the water cooler to complain and talk about it. Like, why is this happening? That said, it's a well-made show. There's well acting in it. But from a writing and a story perspective, it's so slow and strung out and boring, and it's impossible to not. It's a show I feel like you have to watch, and you can't watch it always loving it. You have to hate on it. And now going into this, breaking the fight down, Mr. Robot is awesome.
Mr. Robot's fantastic.
It has some flaws at the end, but what are you saying?
It has flaws throughout. Are you kidding me?
No. I don't want to spoil it, because here's the other problem. You're too early. This show is just started, and it's just finding its way as 10 episodes.
As 10
and
episodes.
It has at least half, I will say, at least half are fantastic.
And you actually have a
half are good.
captivating performance by Rami Malek
He's
to go on.
amazing.
He's fantastic.
I'm not gonna Slater's
watch
amazing.
just for him alone, and I want to see where the show is gonna go. I want to see what they're gonna do.
The show makes me so paranoid. I'm always like, oh, what's happening? Who's reading my emails? It's this new take on something that I think is why people are connected. And because of Raimi, he's an amazing new actor and a character.
Oh, he's fantastic. The show is beneath him. The show is
beneath him.
He's the only thing on the show that works. Oh wow, I'm so original because I framed a shot badly, because then it makes him look small. Oh wow, isn't that great? Look, it sounds like you don't hate Watch The Walking Dead. It sounds like you just watch The Walking Dead. A show has good episodes and bad episodes. And yeah, you're gonna hate the bad episodes, but you're still waiting for something good. I'm just trying to understand why people like this show.
You just don't like the show. Here's my problem.
No, you
didn't
don't
give me a
even
reason
like
why
it.
you love to watch it.
Rami Malek is the reason why I watch it.
The show.
I'll watch it for him, and I'll watch it for
here's the
Christian
problem.
Slater.
Your answer
And
is
when
out.
the big
Hey, pause. We're going over that way. Michelle, go ahead.
I agree. I think it really is. You just don't even really want to watch the show anymore at all. You didn't see really anything redeeming. You don't have this kind of hope that he and I had that the show is going to get better, and oh my God, what's going to happen, and what's going to happen with those 1 or 2 episodes, which is the exact same reason why I loved Gossip Girl. Every now and then you got those amazing episodes where you saw the couple you wanted to get together. You saw Blair give her mother some comeuppance, and it's those moments that you actually wanted to stay on for. Walking Dead is just kind of misery porn, and I don't even love to watch it anymore at all. I just gave up watching the same group of people be miserable all the time.
See, here's the problem. Joe, you're out of this one. Come on.
No, I'm not.
I actually would love to see
He's
him talk about
ridiculous.
Gossip Girl.
You
though.
just dislike the show, and you're not going to watch it because you gave it such a
I want to hear from Matt.
I want to hear.
No, I want to hear from
I
Matt.
have two
Go ahead.
important points. One, again, Gossip Girl sounds like you're just watching a show. A show has good episodes. A show has bad episodes, and people turn up because they want to see a soap, and it was a soap.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure show.
If this was
pleasure show, best guilty pleasure, I would give you Gossip Girl. But that
Andy, the
sucks.
question is
There's
best
nothing
show.
redeemable about Gossip Girl.
No, the question, may I remind you, is best show to hate watch, and hate watching goes beyond the show itself.
Half of it.
No, the hate watching goes beyond the
There's
show
only 10
itself.
episodes.
It goes beyond the show itself. You're asking the question: why is it on the air? Why do people like it? Am I missing something? It is about the culture of the show as much as the show itself.
Matt's too personally involved in this question. Let me know when you're done.
Watching it, and yet I never enjoyed it. I can admit that for its fans, it's obviously doing something. It's got to be a great show. But for me, as somebody who watches tons of television, spends all of his free time watching television, to not be able to understand why people love it so much, and to give it all that time and watch every episode.
Then you just simply hate
Yeah,
it.
you
You're
don't
not
like the
even
show.
going to start watching it.
Here's-
You're
so
not even
anyway.
going
If
to
I
tune in.
really
No.
hated it, I
dude.
wouldn't have finished
All right.
it.
If you're not even going to tune in for season 2, you don't get to use that as
Oh
your
no, I'm
answer for
going
the
to turn
question.
into season 2.
But I can't tell you guys.
All
But
right,
back to
final thoughts from Andy.
So I can get. He got like 100 thoughts for the record. Walking, and you're not even. Yours is like the worst argument because you just are taking it too personally. Here's the problem: everybody watches Walking Dead. Everybody gets frustrated with Walking Dead. You can't say it. The question is best show you love to hate. You even admitted you liked a lot of it. I like one episode every 8 episodes, and that's the problem. You're hoping for that thing, and even that one episode, even last night's big episode, which I don't want to spoil because some people are not caught up. There's just annoyances with it. There's still frustrations with the show. Yet you still are like, I gotta watch the show because everybody watches the show, so I feel obligated. I have to watch the show. It's amazing. That's the reasons why this is the best show to watch, because you're in on the talk. You're actually going to catch something that actually might be interesting for once, because the comics are good, but then they'll completely ruin it, and then you'll get frustrated and you'll yell at the TV. You'll want to break the TV. With your show, it's a good show. It's too early to tell. You clearly just don't like the show. And with Gossip Girl, I get it. It's a guilty pleasure. It's a soap opera, but that's not. I don't think it's as broad of appeal. I think it's a very female skewing show for males will not watch it. Walking Dead's got, I think, a lot more quadrants watching Walking Dead, which again, I'm following on the question of the best show.
But here's my problem with Walking Dead on this one. Again, it's hate watch. And I don't think nearly as many people are watching Walking Dead anymore because you just start hating the show. You just get miserable with it. It just doesn't make any difference whether or not you watch the show. I can tune in tomorrow and I can tune right back into what's happening in the story. It's this group of people, they're zombies, they're miserable, and everyone's gonna die.
She's hate
I don't
watching
need
that
to watch it anymore. I've stopped watching 2 seasons ago. Gossip Girl, I kept going until the very, very end because even though like I kind of had to turn off my brain and I'm like, why the hell am I watching this? Oh my God, I need to watch
Sounds
this.
like you loved it, not
Okay.
love to hate it.
Why
for
am
the
I
record.
watching this?
Sounds like she loved it.
Going to Matt.
All right, I need to say 2 things that are very important. One, the question is not best show you love to hate. The question on the screen right there is best TV show to hate watch.
Well, they changed it. We changed it for the thumbnail.
Okay.
Fine, for the thumbnail. But here's
That's what I prepped.
But here's the deal. Mr. Robot, I'm going to watch it to the very end because I personally believe
Same
that you
thing.
don't have any right to discuss a show unless you're watching it too, even if you don't like it. And the reason why the show is so frustrating to me is not just because so many people love it, but because of the potential offered by the pilot, which the show never ever built on. They established
You didn't like the first few episodes.
No, the first episode was great, and then it fell off more and more.
I agree. The finale was a little
Yeah.
underwhelming, but where did you lose it midway through?
Even in
It
the
really
second
kept it
episode,
going.
because
built
they
up.
established
Okay,
a
Matt,
very
final thought.
Look, a hate watch show goes beyond the show. It's about why you need to watch it, even though you can't stop watching it. And Walking Dead is a
explain
show
why
that a
you
lot of
hate it.
people hated and stopped watching. I don't think there's anybody who
record ratings,
watches,
Ken will tell you.
who watches Mr. Robot who didn't like it and then kept watching. I can't stop watching it because I need to watch it in order to know if it gets good. I hate it now. I want to like it because the concept is great and the actors are great, but it just is empty.
Really tough one, guys. Hi, Ken. What's going on with the facts?
Yeah, lots going on over here. Sorry, I got lost in the YouTube chat room too. I looked up.
People hate me right now.
Bye, Sarlacc.
No, it's
Pit.
always me they hate.
Hate watch is an actual term in Urban Dictionary. So I looked up misery porn, and there are now a lot of pictures of Kathy Bates I no longer want to see on the internet.
no.
One comment I want to pull from the YouTube comment section because this is for Dan Merle. Tragedy Martinez says, Dan, if you see this, you are so attractive. I just want to make sure Dan gets that. A lot of people, as usual, checking in on hashtag TV Fights Live. We got Maxime tuning in from 1 a.m. all the way in Scotland. Casey Loving watches Agents of
Hey,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ken, you actually have any facts, like how important the ratings were for the new season premiere that would blew records for AMC?
AMC? I'll look that up.
Let him get there.
Jamie Lynn
let
checks
the man
in
do his
saying
job.
her Hey Watch choice is Pretty Little Liars. Rival Teg is admitting to watching Dance Moms. And Katie Socash has been listening to this entire episode on her headphones and now has a headache. Says Gotham is her favorite show that she loves to hate.
Oh, that's a
Another great
good
one.
one.
That was my
That
second
That's a
choice.
good
Yeah.
Ooh, all right, Matt, it's a good thing you already secured your place going into the speed rounds because I feel like Mr. Robot is a show that you just despise and watch because you have to for work, not because you want to in any way.
I'm not talking about it at work.
Yeah, I think you just hate it.
Yes.
You like many times, you just hate the show.
Which is weird. It's a good show.
The question wasn't
show.
like
It's the best-
watch even though it's popular,
Right.
like hate even though it's popular. It was you keep watching
Yeah.
it and you just
Yeah,
you
you
do
stop
not
watching,
want
man.
to.
I need you to stop watching. I don't think it's gonna get better than it is. So
I can't.
Please stop watching
So
it.
this one came down between Michelle and Andy, who I both felt like were watching their shows because they love to hate watch shows. So that was equal there. Andy, I heard a lot more of specifics why he needed to keep watching, the glimmers of hope. I feel like, Michelle, with you, I heard a lot more about the hair and like coming back for things
Really
like
good
that.
hair on that show.
It's very important, you guys.
I have to
Let's
put
shout
aside-
out their makeup and hair
Yeah,
design.
the hair-
They're
I mean,
fabulous.
The
They
hair
look
makeup
fantastic.
Yeah, great
is
work.
incredible.
Those
and I-
headbands alone, guys. I mean,
No, my feelings for the actual show I have to put aside because I don't hate watch that show. I just love that show. But like Andy said, it kind of sounded like a guilty pleasure for you, not a show that you legitimately hated, but you kept watching it because you just needed to know what was happening next. So because of that, Andy, you get the point on this one.
That was good, though. Good. I thought you had me.
It was really close.
you know.
I just needed a little less
She was
hair and
great.
a little. Yeah, it was really, really close.
it's a valid point. It's a valid point. I
Yeah.
too just kind of love that
Oh,
show.
I'm-
I know. Trying,
I
trying
know.
to make it work.
Speaking of necklaces, that necklace is awesome.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you, Bonnie Burton. Hello.
You're channeling your inner
Gossip
fashionista.
Girl.
I love
Yeah.
got
Gossip
my ad
Girl.
out. Yes,
pretty
I know.
awesome.
I almost
Style.
didn't because I was like TV fights.
No, that's cool.
No.
Clone Wars.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Rebels. Star
Totally
Wars
rebels now.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be using
They've had
you
out some
in a
Clone Wars?
little
Oh,
bit.
yes.
But guys, before we move into the speed rounds, I want to thank Hulu one more time for sponsoring today's episode of TV Fights. Whether you guys are trying to stay up to date on Fear the Walking Dead, just can't get enough of South Park, or love getting all nostalgic and streaming classics like Seinfeld or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there is something on Hulu for everyone. So thanks to our friends at Hulu for making the show live for you guys on YouTube today. They're really awesome, killing it for us. All right, guys, we're going into the speed rounds now. This is going to be a really, really good one. This is a rematch for you guys. So how's everybody feeling at the table? Getting a little nervous?
This is my Achilles heel. I always
Yeah.
have trouble. I somehow won it last time, but
All right.
that was
Andy's
rare.
a hell of a competitor. This is gonna be fun.
Is that a scare
Two
tactic?
hella competitors here against
Yeah.
me.
I'm gonna move my headphones a little off
Yeah,
my
you
ears.
Wow.
I feel like.
Well, no, I need you to keep them right
Yes.
there because
No,
I need your
I'll
help.
Listen. No, I'll listen.
I
don't
really
think
do.
I'll be able
Without
not
the
to.
headphones.
I think you could hear us two towns over. Yeah.
Yeah, in these speed rounds, though,
don't think I need headphones.
do I have your help and support
turn our
trying to
level
pick
down?
some?
Go this. Let's
I
do it.
know.
Let's do it.
Ken, are you all set over there with the timer and everything? You guys know you have 15
ma'am.
seconds each, and then you have 5-second rebuttals. Is everybody ready for the speed rounds? Going in
Yes.
this tied 2-2 right now, guys. All right, starting with the first question. What is the best show that starts with the letter F?
Fargo.
Ah, damn it. Futurama.
Okay, Fargo versus Futurama, starting with you, Andy.
Fargo comes off of a movie that's one of the best movies ever. So you go in like, what? This isn't going to be good. And it blows away one of the best shows ever. 2 seasons in. And then season 2, it gets even better. Amazing actors that they pulled into TV. A story that's nice and condensed that everyone's talking about winning Emmys. It's just an amazingly acclaimed, fantastic show that came out of nowhere.
Futurama is the funniest show of all time. It came back from death twice. It had 4 great direct-to-DVD movies. It's packed with jokes from every single second. Every single frame is packed with humor. Fargo is good, but it is not as dense and as funny and as amazing as this, with indelible characters that last for years.
Futurama's fun, but it's because of Matt Groening, which is the better movie, the better show. Simpsons, they're all just like it because he made this one. It's always the stepchild next to the Simpsons. It's not as good.
You can't make that argument about The Simpsons. The Futurama is more creative, it's more interesting, and it's lasted way longer for a reason.
Matt Groening's name.
Hey.
Guys, you can tell where this is going
Okay.
with the fire at the table. I think I know what I'm doing, but I'd like to get your opinion, Michelle. How you feeling based on the arguments?
I do both very, very well argued, bringing in both, and it was hard to go between the two because they're two such totally different genres. However, part of one point that kind of lost it for me is bringing up Matt Groening and Simpsons, because it wasn't best show ever or best show like by comedy. It was best show that begins with F, and I think Futurama kind of had my vote on that one.
Okay. Ken, how are you feeling on that?
Great round. You guys are fun. I liked Andy's point and it kind of won me over. If you didn't expect much about this show, and it turned out to be great, and it even got better in season 2, making it the best show where Futurama has gone up and down.
I agree with you, Michelle, that he did fight more why it was Simpsons was a better show than Futurama, but I also think he gave better points why Fargo was the best show, talking about it exceeding expectations and going into it not thinking it was going to be great, and then it was amazing with all the Emmys talk too. So Andy, you get the point on this one, which means that the score is 3-2 going into the next question, guys.
So tense.
This is exhausting.
No.
Kind of glad I'm not part of this.
Should we pause? Do you guys want to take a little nap?
Yeah,
Drink
you
some
want
water?
to just go hang out? We'll
Back
just
row?
chat? Yeah.
We have people here for
Play some
that.
video games? Still got that N64?
No, but Andy's like, no nonsense. So here we go, guys. Who is the TV Jennifer you'd rather grab a drink with, Aniston or Lopez?
Aniston.
Lopez.
Okay, starting with you, Andy.
Jennifer Aniston, on Rachel on Friends, is one of the most iconic characters ever. J-Lo, what are we going to pick from American Idol? Or the new cop show that no one really knows about? Or Fly Girls? Jennifer Aniston is the most iconic character ever. I want to talk to her about how she did that, talk about TV, talk about Central Park and all the characters.
There's a reason why Jennifer Aniston hasn't been able to keep a husband, and it means that either she's boring or B, she's high maintenance. Jennifer Lopez comes from the block. She's one of us. She's somebody who understands what it is to come from a low-income household. She's interesting. She's edgy. She's got all kinds of music stories. I'd much rather hang out with her.
All those things you said are amazing things I want to talk about her while I'm having coffee. Because we're friends having coffee, not to mention Friends and all the TV things that you still
She seems like a grating individual, and she's just going to shove smart water in your face. I'd rather hang out with J-Lo any day of the week. She's also beautiful.
Ouch.
All right, Michelle, how are you feeling over there?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So glad I'm not in this.
Yeah, I feel you.
Oh,
It's
this
nice
is
to
great.
play judge for a
It
little
is.
bit.
Oh,
yeah.
thank God. I love it. I think, again, both made very, very good points. I think it was a bit of a personal hit about Jennifer Aniston not being able to keep a husband. But, I mean, really? There was a reason that Bennifer died, too. So the fact that that point was not made, I think, has to
Yes.
actually go. I have to go with.
How would you not want to talk about that? If I thought you were going to get me with this.
So
Let's talk about Bennifer.
You're going with Andy and J-Lo?
I'm going.
That would've been a good point.
Yeah, no, I completely- I forgot about Bennifer.
Yeah, I'm going with Aniston.
Okay, so you're Team Aniston. Oh my God, the shirts are coming back. Team Aniston.
Oh no.
What are you thinking over there, Ken?
I'm thinking I love that Lieberman went that way, but then I love that Andy was like, exactly, I'd like to find out why. So I have to give Andy the point.
All right.
Yeah.
Plus, didn't Pitt leave her for Gwyneth Paltrow?
No,
No, he left her for
Whatever.
Angelina Jolie.
I think if the question
not
was
gonna tell
like,
you about that.
who would you rather be tied down to? I think that you might have made the stronger arguments. But yeah, he took your arguments and he countered them so well that I guess that you get to get this point and get the drink with Jennifer Aniston, hashtag Team Aniston. So we're going in 4 points to 2 points.
Matt's got to win this round. He's got to stay in this here.
Yeah.
You gotta
This is
get
where
this
buckle under the
round.
pressure.
No,
All right.
we'll see.
Who would win at Survivor? Walter White or Don Draper?
Walter White.
Walter White.
Going to Andy for Walter White, Don Draper with Matt. Starting with you, Andy.
Walter White proved he would do anything to win. Don Draper is just he's just a sleazy guy. I just don't believe he'd go as far as Walter White did to protect his family, and in this case, to win Survivor. He tricked everyone. He tricked his brother-in-law. He tricked so many people. You didn't see it coming, and he knew the chemistry so he could make the fires and things to make the fish.
Walter White is too emotional to win Survivor. Don Draper had a secret life that he didn't confess to anybody. He plays his cards close to the vest. He knows how to draw people in with his charm. He's going to get the women on his side. Men want to be him. The men are going to get on his side. Walter White has broken under the pressure. Fly.
Secret life and charm, that was what he did. Plus, he knows the chemistry. He would know how to live out there. Don Draper would be dead.
Walter White had no charm whatsoever. And we're not talking about fire. We're talking about playing the game. And Walter White ruined drugs. in New Mexico. You ruined it
Fine.
for everybody.
Well, all right, I think I know where I'm going on this one too, but Michelle, let's hear what you got.
Cool. I have to say, I really thought it was going to be with Andy because I was like, of course Walter White is going to win at Survivor. Oh my God, he can pull out everything that Andy said. However, Matt brought up a very good point as far as charm, secret life. This show is about alliances. You have to make it to the end in order to win. So I have to go with Matt and Don Draper.
Okay, Ken, how you thinking?
Hey, I know Andy knows Survivor. It's going to be a great season coming up, starting soon here. So Andy kind of had me.
Bronze versus brain,
That's
yeah.
right. Andy had me until
beauty,
Matt brought
right?
up the point about the secret life, the charm. Men want to be with him, be him. Women want to be with him. All that stuff. I'm going with Matt to keep the game alive.
He would be more of a Boston Rob.
The Secret Life. The
He'd
Secret
break
Life
late. He'd
really
break
won
late.
it for me there.
I didn't watch Mad Men.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Don Draper.
It's a great show.
So The Secret Life really got it, and bringing the men and women
It's a
in.
good show.
So even though
So I
initially
hear.
you might have wanted Walter White, you made the stronger arguments for this. You stay in the game, Matt.
Yep.
You get that point.
Hell yeah.
So Andy, you've got 4. Matt, you've got 3. Going into our next question, which is AMC or FX?
FX.
Great, starting with you, Matt.
FX has almost never had a bad show. AMC has had multiple bad shows. Rubicon, anyone? Comic book guys? The fact is, they are building off The Walking Dead, a show that Andy himself hate watches, and their best shows are already off the air. FX has great series like The Americans was the best show of last year. Fargo, also a great show.
Breaking Bad is better than all of those shows, and they're all trying to copy Breaking Bad stuff. Better Call Saul is an amazing show. They still are doing great shows. Fear the Walking Dead actually is an interesting prequel, learning more about it. Into the Badlands is actually a really kung fu story. People aren't giving them the shot, but they actually are delivering more shows.
FX is delivering both great comedies and great dramas. They've won more Emmys than AMC every single year, and for good reason, because their shows are better.
I don't believe that. Breaking Bad won a ton of Emmys, and Breaking Bad's one of the best shows of all time. No one watches those shows on FX, whether they're right or wrong, which gives AMC the win. I gotta talk fast.
That's not true.
Very close. This is a really close one. Michelle, who do you think made the stronger arguments over there?
So personally, I feel like as far as arguments were concerned, Andy's main argument was kind of centered around one show. Whether or not Breaking Bad itself has gotten more Emmys, the question was about a network. And I think Matt had a very good point, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Terriers. But as far
Terriers
as
was great.
Yeah, as far as shows are concerned, overall for the network, I think he made the stronger argument, comedies and dramas, and more Emmys overall.
I like that you're trying to give him the point, and he's still fighting with you on that. Terriers was great. You can't.
Terriers was an amazing show.
you
It should have
can't
gone for
turn it
10
off.
years.
Ken, how you feeling on this one?
Here's where I'm coming down to, and I'm going to let you decide, Roxy. I'm going to let it put it on you.
I
I agree with the
definitely will.
network argument that Matt made. I totally agree, but that might be my own bias. I watch FX more, but I think there's something to what you're saying fact-wise. But Andy said something that really struck with me, which is with Breaking Bad and AMC and that switch that AMC did to that content, a lot of people are just trying to copy that. So I'm putting that on the table and letting you decide, kid.
So it's split between you guys. I think that a lot of your argument was based around one show, and other shows that you kept saying were not that bad, or we're not sure yet, they might be good, as opposed to Matt, who was fully behind multiple shows on his network, so this isn't just about one show. Matt, you have now tied this up.
Making this interesting.
Making this 4-4. This will be the final
Okay.
question.
Told you I'd lose.
No, don't say it
Always
yet.
what happens.
Don't say it yet, Andy.
Okay, this is
Now
the
he's trying to
final
psych you
question.
out.
Yeah.
Coming down to, it all comes down to all this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's one question. All right. Am I making you nervous, Andy?
No, I still don't watch FX. I didn't know any shows.
Oh, dude, it's the best network on
Watch
TV.
People versus OJ. That's good.
That's a great
and
show.
Fargo.
It was a
Yeah.
really good show. All right, guys. Which villain would you rather go against? Daredevil's Kingpin or Smallville's Lex Luthor?
Kingpin. Lex
Okay.
Luthor.
Great. Starting with you, Andy.
Kingpin was just scary. Lex Luthor was kind of a soap opera villain, and I don't think it was as strong as Kingpin, which Vincent D'Onofrio brought to a brand new level. And seeing Kingpin in this new way, where he was just frightening and different, and brought layered texture. Where I feel like Lex Luthor, it was fun, but it's not the best version of Lex. And I think it's just not as scary as what.
It's not about which is your favorite. It's which one would you rather go against. And Kingpin was a big baby, a massive baby. Okay, look, Lex Luthor is somebody who is not only a match for you, brains wise. He's brilliant. He's young. He's hungry. He's a super villain.
I want to go against the best, and Kingpin is an amazing throw down. He broke a guy in a parking lot. He actually does crush. He's way stronger and would do it. Lex Luthor talks too much.
Lex Luthor could invent a ray that could prevent you from ever existing, ever, versus
Didn't
a guy
use it.
who's just a big baby.
Mommy.
Baby with muscles.
All right, Michelle, how are you feeling? Need your expertise on this one.
Oh God, this one
against
was
the best.
this was really difficult actually. This one was hard because you both had really good points. I mean, I'm glad that it got turned around on the question because I was like, yeah, Kingpin freaking threw down in a parking lot, scared the shit out of me. So it was hard because the question was who would you rather go against? So I feel like you would actually be trying to emphasize their flaws and their weaknesses rather than their strengths. So but both of you were kind of talking about their strengths. This was really hard, you guys. So
we both screwed it
so my brain is just totally twisted at this point.
Welcome to my job.
So
Fight
I know,
the best.
right?
So who
Fight the best.
Who argued the worst?
So I have to go with I think who argued whose arguments, even though they were trying to talk about strengths, actually brought up weaknesses. I have to go with Matt because he kind of brought up go against Lex Luthor would invent a ray, but he's not gonna head stomp you in a parking lot. So it would take time. I gotta go with Matt. I'm just going with Matt. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll go with
I think you messed up that question.
I do
both
get
screwed
it,
up.
but
I was
all
so
right.
proud of myself.
Oh God.
Ken, I want to hear from you. How you feeling?
It's like Amazing Race. Always read the clue.
Yeah, I love that
happened?
you both jumped into that passionate round. So like Michelle trying to dig up, and I'm holding on to that fact too that Lieberman said. I think I'd rather face Lex Luthor because I think I have a chance to get away from him and not be curb stomped in a parking lot somewhere.
But he didn't say that.
But it's kind of
The existing arguments.
yeah.
kind of more anti-Andy versus
He's a soap
pro
opera villain. You
Matt.
said
Hey.
it yourself, Andy.
Go against the best.
You were going against the best, but he was also, you guys both made points of why you wanted to fight the villain that you didn't think was as big of a baby or the villain that you didn't have as much respect for. Because of that, I feel like you were making it out alive maybe more. So Matt Lieberman, you get the point. Because you made it out alive.
Okay, great.
Stop arguing!
You win. But did he say that?
Yeah, he did say
I
it.
feel like she said that.
No,
Did he say it?
he didn't say he'd make it out alive, but he talked about the.
Hey, whatever. I accept defeat.
All right.
But I just couldn't tell what fight we were fighting.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I'm trying to hear.
Yeah.
By halfway
Hey,
through
congrats.
a show with you, I think we're both just deaf and tired.
You can't even help it to the end. Right when I crowned him the victor, he said, "What?"
That's the lesson, Roxy. It's like Misery Race. You got to read the clue because I didn't listen. I was like, he's the best one. Go.
I think everyone just heard Kingpin and went, Kingpin!
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that, Matt. Congratulations on that strange victory at the end there. But you really did pull it off. Awesome job.
Good job.
Thank you.
I think Michelle
Thanks,
won that
Michelle.
fight at the end there. You know.
She should get the point.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She totally cleared.
Michelle kicks ass.
Am I allowed to do that?
I don't
It's
know.
your show.
I don't want to take away from the victory though because it was a rematch, so you each have one on each other. It's a pretty big deal. I think
job,
we
guys.
need to fight it out.
Well fought. Well fought.
Absolutely. In the meantime, while we're waiting for next week, Andy, where can everybody keep up with you and
At
covering a
Andy
new
Signore
show?
on Twitter, Instagram, and on ScreenJunkies, all the stuff. And tune in
Mondays at 1.
Monday's the one for. Thank you. I'm tired.
For Knocking Dead.
Sleep. Yes, for Knocking Dead on ScreenJunkies Plus.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can catch me over on SourceFed Nerd doing Superhero Roundup, the new sketch channel Nuclear Family, which is awesome. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. I also just started a podcast called Walk and Talk. We are reviewing everything that Christopher Walken has ever done, not just movies and TV. We're going to review we're going to review the Natalie Wood deposition.
Wow.
We're reviewing everything. And
The Fatboy Slim video?
Yes, the
Natalie
Fatboy
Wood
Slim.
would have been a great
That's a
true
good one,
crime.
too.
Do you want to come in on the Fatboy Slim music video?
Sure.
Great. And I also just dropped a video on my YouTube channel about The Walking Dead asking, should Rick be killed off on The Walking Dead? Could it make the show better? And I think it could.
Ooh.
At some point, it's got to happen.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle, what about you?
Michelle Boyd at both Twitter and Instagram, and also hopefully starting back up with Ken over there on a new Game of Thrones podcast because we both read the books and we're really obnoxious about it, so it'll be fun.
I love it. Speaking of Ken, where can everybody keep up with you over the week?
You can keep up with me at a Rite Aid buying headache pills. This is a great episode, though. I love seeing the rivalry between Matt and Andy explode.
It's good.
It's like rope Mocha, man, it is good. It's fun. Yeah, Ken Napzok across the board. Thanks to all of you in Twitter land on hashtag TV Fights Live and on YouTube. Checking in there, especially the people yelling at us to vote for Trump.
And again, thank you so much.
Is that what they're doing on YouTube?
Oh God, really?
Look forward to
Oh
reading
my
to us.
goodness.
Wait, ask them who Zoom is. Let's fill the chat up with that.
Hey. Thank you for letting us be on YouTube, Hulu, and thank you for sponsoring the show today. You guys were awesome. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar. You can watch us live on Screen Junkies Plus, 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. We'll be here every week.
Yay, TV Fights!
Yeah!
Yay, Roxy!